Story 1. The Weight of Suspicion. In the quiet hum of a late summer evening in 2023, Ethan Caldwell, a wiry 20-something with dreams bigger than his small-town roots, stood in the cluttered garage of his parents' suburban home. He was preparing to move into his first apartment, a modest one-bedroom in the heart of Willow Creek, a sleepy town where everyone knew each other's business. The garage was a time capsule of his childhood: rusted bikes, forgotten board games, and a hulking weight set that had once fueled his teenage dreams of becoming a linebacker. Now it was just another relic he needed to offload to fund his new chapter. Ethan had always been wary of online marketplaces. Craigslist, with its endless horror stories of scams and shady meetups, was a hard pass. Instead, he turned to Facebook Marketplace, figuring its community vibe and mutual connections offered a veneer of safety. He listed the weight set: a barbell, a plate tree stand, and a collection of iron plates for $340, a steal for anyone looking to build a home gym. Alongside it, he posted childhood toys, book sets, and miscellaneous knickknacks, hoping to clear out the garage before his dad's patience ran out. Days passed with little interest. A few messages trickled in, curious inquiries about availability followed by radio silence. Ethan was beginning to lose hope when, late one evening, his phone buzzed with a notification. A user named Joe, with a grainy profile picture of a man in a fishing hat proudly holding a bass, expressed interest in the weight set. The account was private, revealing little beyond 3 mutual friends, all women from Willow Creek. Ethan's curiosity was piqued. The last name matched a Joe he vaguely knew, a guy who'd dated Gina, a friend from high school. Convinced it was the same Joe, a harmless fisherman with a penchant for quiet evenings by the lake, Ethan replied eagerly. Joe didn't haggle, which surprised Ethan. Most buyers tried to lowball, but Joe agreed to the full $340 and asked when he could pick it up. Ethan, thrilled at the prospect of a quick sale, offered any evening after 7 p.m. Joe suggested 11 p.m. that same night, citing a late shift at work. It was later than Ethan preferred, but he shrugged it off. A deal was a deal. To break the ice, Ethan sent a friendly message. "Hey, you used to date Gina, right?" The typing indicator appeared briefly before vanishing. Minutes ticked by with no response. Finally, Joe replied with a curt, "Yes." Ethan, sensing awkwardness, tried to lighten the mood. "Knew I recognized your name, LOL." Joe read the message but didn't reply for nearly half an hour, eventually responding with a terse, "Yeah, LOL. Send me your address, and I'll let you know when I'm coming." Ethan sent his address, a quiet street lined with modest homes and neatly trimmed lawns. Hours passed without a word. By 6 p.m., Ethan was back from work, his gym bag slung over his shoulder. He hit the local gym, pushing through a quick workout while glancing at his phone, waiting for Joe's confirmation. By 7:30 p.m., still nothing. Growing impatient, Ethan messaged again. Finally, Joe responded, asking for Ethan's phone number. Seconds later, a text arrived from a local area code. Ethan noticed the green bubble, unusual in a town where iPhones dominated, but dismissed it. He assumed it was Joe, the fisherman he thought he knew. Joe texted that he'd arrive around 11 p.m. Ethan settled into his apartment, the bare walls and unpacked boxes a stark reminder of his new beginning. As the clock ticked toward 11:30, his phone buzzed. "I'm here. Come out." Ethan peered through the front window, spotting a dark sedan idling on the street. He called Joe to ask for help carrying the weights, but the call was rejected. Another text followed. "Yo, come out." Ethan's stomach twisted. The tone felt off, nothing like the Joe he remembered. He texted back, "I see you. Come in, I need help with the weights." The reply was chilling. "N, gotta see if you're straight first." Ethan froze, the words echoing in his mind. This wasn't the fisherman. This was someone else entirely. He tried calling again. Denied. Panic crept in as he messaged Gina and the mutual friends, desperate for answers. Angela, one of the mutuals, responded almost instantly. "OMG, that's a catfish. Someone's pretending to be him." Ethan's heart raced. He glanced out the window again. The car was still there, its engine humming softly. Acting on instinct, he texted Gina, who confirmed the real Joe had no active social media. This Joe was a fraud. Ethan locked the door, his mind racing with worst-case scenarios. He dimmed the lights and peeked through the blinds, his breath catching as he spotted a figure crouching behind a bush near his apartment. The silhouette was unmistakable. A man, waiting. Before he could react, the car honked sharply. The figure bolted from the bushes, sprinting to the sedan. Tires screeched as the car sped off into the night. Ethan's relief was short-lived. His address was compromised and the Facebook profile vanished the next day, likely deleted by its creators. Worse, days later, a threatening text arrived from an unknown number. "Hey yo, watch your back. We know where you live. Keep trying to talk to my girl. See what happens. We'll mess you up right outside your crib. Sleep with one eye open." The police were dismissive, filing the report but offering little hope of action. Ethan, shaken, began checking his windows obsessively, his new apartment no longer a sanctuary, but a place of lurking dread. The wait set remained unsold, a heavy reminder of the danger he'd narrowly escaped. Story 2. The Pinball Plot. It was the summer of 2018, and Sophie Harper, a cunning college junior with a knack for turning clutter into cash, was plotting her next move. Her parents' sprawling home in the affluent Oakwood Estates was a treasure trove of forgotten relics, including a vintage pinball machine tucked away in the attic. It wasn't a high-end arcade model, but its nostalgic charm and solid condition made it worth a few $100. With her family away on a European vacation she couldn't join due to her barista job, Sophie saw an opportunity to sell the machine and pocket the profits before her sisters caught wind. Oakwood Estates was the kind of neighborhood where manicured lawns and luxury SUVs were the norm, but Sophie knew better than to let her guard down. She listed the pinball machine on Facebook Marketplace for $200, keeping the post discreet to avoid family drama. The next day, a message arrived from an account named Jasmine, with no profile picture and a bare-bones profile. Jasmine offered $175, and Sophie, eager for a quick sale, agreed. They settled on a pickup time that evening. As the appointed hour came and went, Sophie grew restless. Jasmine messaged, "I'll be there soon," but the excuses piled up. By 11 p.m., Sophie, bleary-eyed and dreading her early shift, pushed for a reschedule. Jasmine insisted she was already on her way, promising to arrive by 11:30. Sophie, against her better judgment, stayed up, the quiet house amplifying every creak and rustle. At 11:45, her phone pinged. "I'm here." Sophie approached the front door, peering through the glass. A car idled in the driveway, its headlights casting long shadows. To her horror, all 4 doors opened, and 4 figures emerged, a woman and 3 men, their silhouettes imposing against the moonlit street. Sophie's pulse quickened. She messaged Jasmine, "Are you here with people?" No reply. As the group approached, Sophie kept the storm door locked, her fingers trembling. The woman, presumably Jasmine, stepped forward, her face partially obscured by a hoodie. "Are you Jasmine?" Sophie called out, her voice steadier than she felt. "Yeah," the woman replied, her tone clipped. Sophie hesitated. "I can't let all of you in. My parents are asleep." It was a lie, but she hoped it would deter them. Jasmine tugged at the storm door, realizing it was locked. She banged on the glass, shouting, "What are you talking about?" The men behind her exchanged glances, their postures menacing. Sophie's instincts screamed danger. She slammed the front door shut, her heart pounding as the group's voices rose outside, hurling insults and ringing the doorbell incessantly. For 10 agonizing minutes, they lingered on the stoop, laughing and yelling, their presence a taunting reminder of her vulnerability. Peering from her brother's upstairs window, Sophie saw one of the men urinating in the empty driveway, a brazen act of disrespect. The group finally retreated, their car peeling out of the neighborhood. Sophie exhaled, thinking the worst was over. She climbed into bed, her mind racing, sleep an impossible luxury. Hours later, a crash shattered the silence, a window breaking downstairs. Sophie's blood ran cold. She tiptoed to her bedroom door, confirming it was locked, and grabbed her phone. Footsteps thundered up the stairs, heavy and deliberate. Hiding under her bed, she dialed 911, whispering her address to the dispatcher as the intruders ransacked the house. Drawers slammed, glass shattered, and voices barked commands. In less than 5 minutes, they were gone, but the damage was done. The police arrived too late, finding a shattered backyard window in a house in disarray. Jewelry, electronics, and cash were missing, but the pinball machine, ironically, remained untouched. Sophie filed a report, fabricating a detail about being verbally threatened to ensure the case was taken seriously. To her surprise, the detectives traced the Jasmine account to a woman in a neighboring town. A search warrant uncovered stolen goods from Sophie's home, and the woman implicated her 3 accomplices. All 4 were charged with burglary, and most of the stolen items were recovered. Sophie's family was furious but eventually forgave her. The incident left a scar, a reminder that even in a safe neighborhood, danger could lurk behind a simple online transaction. Story 3. The Phantom Phone Deal. In the crisp autumn of 2016, Lucas Bennett, a tech-savvy high school senior with a penchant for scoring deals, was on a mission to upgrade his aging iPhone 5. Scouring Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, he stumbled upon a listing that seemed too good to be true. A factory-sealed iPhone 7 for $300, a fraction of its retail price. The seller, Melvin, was chatty and accommodating, sending a video of the pristine box and assuring Lucas it was unlocked and brand new. Despite the generic post and Melvin's vague Facebook profile, Lucas was hooked. Melvin's listed location was just 20 minutes from Lucas's hometown of Cedar Falls, but over text, he claimed to be an hour north, citing a last-minute trip. Lucas, undeterred by the inconvenience, rallied his friend Martina, a spirited classmate with a sharp wit, to join him on the road trip. In exchange for her company, he promised to buy her dinner. Melvin suggested meeting in the parking lot of a police precinct for safety, a detail that eased Lucas's nerves. They set out at 8:30 p.m. on a Friday, the promise of a new phone and a night of adventure fueling their excitement. The hour-long drive took them through winding back roads, the landscape shifting from suburban sprawl to dense, wooded stretches. Martina's chatter kept the mood light, but as they neared the precinct, a sense of unease settled in. The parking lot was deserted, save for a few police cruisers. They circled the building, searching for Melvin's black Altima, but found no sign of him. Lucas called Melvin, who answered with a strained voice, claiming his car had broken down on a nearby road. He sent a location pin, a remote stretch surrounded by woods, and asked Lucas to help jumpstart his car. Lucas hesitated, but the sunk cost of the drive pushed him forward. Martina, however, was adamant. "This is sketchy as hell," she hissed, shaking her head. Lucas compromised, agreeing to drive past the location without stopping. The road was a tunnel of darkness, flanked by towering trees. As they approached, their headlights caught the glint of a black car, its hood up, but no one was visible inside or out. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the hum of their engine. Martina urged Lucas to keep driving, and he did, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. Melvin's calls flooded in, each ignored, followed by a text. "I saw you pass me. Why didn't you stop? Turn around." They stopped at a nearby diner, a quiet outpost with flickering neon signs. As they sipped coffee, a man in a dirty navy hoodie entered, his face obscured. He sat at the counter, glancing at their table repeatedly. When he spoke to the waitress, his voice matched Melvin's from the phone. Lucas's blood ran cold. He whispered to Martina, "That's him." They paid quickly, downing their coffees and hurrying to the car. As they pulled out, Martina spotted the man rising from his stool, heading for the door. Lucas sped onto the highway, his heart racing. A black car in the diner's lot matched the one they'd seen on the road. Minutes later, a low tire pressure warning flashed on the dashboard. The PSI dropped rapidly, forcing Lucas to pull over. Inspecting the tire, he found a deliberate slash. With Martina keeping watch, he swapped it for the spare, the 15-minute ordeal feeling like an eternity. They made it home, shaken but safe. Lucas treated Martina to a late-night dinner, and they laughed off the ordeal, turning it into a story for the ages. But the slashed tire and Melvin's chilling pursuit lingered, a stark warning of the dangers lurking behind a too-good-to-be-true deal.